regarding Frank Reich, this is a hot topic, whether he should be fired, what's going on with play calling, but we're not going to get into, firing. This is week one. Teams are going to lose games that they shouldn't. There's going to be some weird performances. No one knows who's good yet. So I'm not going to get into the firing, even though I highly doubt Chris Ballard would make a head coaching move mid-season. So here's the question. Should Frank Reich pass the play calling duties down to Marcus Brady?
I think it should have been Marcus Brady to begin with when we hired him, because he was the quarterback coach, and him working with Matt Ryan can definitely adjust the play calling and maybe even take snaps away from Jonathan Taylor. So I do think that when he got promoted, I think he should have been calling the plays to begin with because he knows what he's doing. And having Frank Reich make the play calls and then try to be a head coach at the same time is a lot of pressure. I don't think you can control two narratives at the same time as a head coach and an offensive coordinator play caller. Like I said, if you want to do these things, he can't get demoted to offensive coordinator. So maybe in the future we'll see what happens with that scenario. But I think Marcus Brady should have been calling plays since he got hired. Just as simple as that.
Absolutely. Obviously, he was the quarterback's coach and got elevated to offensive coordinator when Nick Sirianni took the job as Eagles head coach. This is something that I've thought about even last year, but obviously we know what Frank Reich did as the offensive coordinator for Philadelphia. He wasn't the play caller there because Doug Peterson was running the play calls there. But I think Frank Reich is one of the better play callers, play designers in the NFL. But I think juggling being a head coach and a play caller is a lot on one person. For example, you're calling plays for the offense, right? So you're oblivious to what's going on the defense. You're oblivious to what conversations are being had. You're oblivious to the adjustments that are being made. You don't know any of that. And then when your offense comes off the field, your defense goes on, but you're still talking with your quarterback. You're still talking with your offensive analyst. You're still on your play sheet talking about discussing what is going to go on the next drive. You're not paying attention to the defense. You're not making real-time decisions. You're not, as a head coach, your attention span should be on the whole team. I feel like play calling takes his attention away from that a little bit. As a leader of men, and this has been talked about, I've seen this on Twitter. As a leader of men, I think he is great. I think he's good, but I think that can be taken up a notch if he didn't have the play calling duties. If that just got away, I feel like how the fan base embraces him would be a lot different because this is Marcus Brady's fourth year. He's going into his fifth year in the system. He was a quarterback coach for 3, and now he was offensive coordinator last year, first year, and then is offensive coordinator this year. I would think he knows the system by now. He knows what works. He works with Matt Ryan. Me personally, and I am actually going to go with this now because after today, I think if you're the head coach, you need to be on all aspects of the game. Let go play calling duties. Pass them down to Marcus Brady. Because as a head coach, if you're prioritizing your attention on the play calling, that could take your attention away from another area of need that needs your attention. And there are some aspects that need it, but you can't focus on it. Focusing on it in the game is huge, and I think it's better rather than the game already being lost and then going into next week. Okay, this is what we can do better. I feel like those in-game adjustments, the process of just being a head coach is better in-game rather than just through the week. That's my take on it. I think I'm ready to see the change, not because I think Frank Reich is bad, not because because these are Frank Reich's plays. It's his plays. Marcus Brady's just going to be calling them. I want to see that change only because I think there's a void that gets left when Frank Reich is focused on just one aspect of the team. That's my take on it. I'm not entirely sure what your guys' take on it. Obviously, if you're on this on YouTube, let us know what you think about the play calling duties. Should they be passed around? again, I will reiterate, I don't think Frank Reich is a bad play caller, but I do think there are some aspects where it needs a little more attention that he can't give at those moments in time because he's just too focused on, if you're going forward on 4th and 1, well, first you got to make the decision, and then you got to decide what play is being made. Usually the head coach will look to the offensive coordinator, give the nod, and the offensive coordinator, bang, he's got it. There's just so many things working in a coach's head that you're just like, it just becomes too much at times. I am curious, and I would prefer the change. I wouldn't be mad if they don't do it, but something's got to give, because now today, your decision making and play calling, in my opinion, cost you. There is no excuse for tying with the Houston Texans. You went for it on 4th and goal instead of taking the points, and you didn't even do anything, by design. You just went with the Wildcat. Everyone knows you're running the football, right, Marcus?
Yep.
Everybody knows. You didn't get creative. You didn't dial anything up. And essentially, I think you cost your team today. Yes, we can talk about Rodrigo missing the kick, obviously. But that decision to not just take the points in a division game on the road, opening the season, that cost you. And I will say, Marcus, if these things continue, and I'll even say it again, if the Colts don't win the division, Frank Reich should be fired. Because at some point, the excuses have to stop. The excuses, the finger pointing, the blaming, it has to stop. And tying with the Texans should not be anywhere good enough. You should not get complacent. You should not be okay with that. Oh, we didn't lose, but at least we tied. No, you should treat a tie even worse than a loss. Or at least that's how I've been told, how I've been encouraged to look at it. It's no better. So as long as your standards are up, man, this game was very frustrating for all of us to watch, man. But what is your opinion on it? Because obviously I want to get yours. Do you like the aspect of doing it? Because I know you already said you would like it, but I feel like there's just a little bit more that I want to hear from you.
The decision making to maybe replace his play calling is definitely a thing we should do. Like I said, it's probably too much pressure for Coach Frank. I'm not saying that he can't do it, but I definitely think he could. Uh, just give it up. I mean, it is what it is. He's definitely a quarterback. He's definitely a player's coach. So him, taking over, letting someone else take over the reins shouldn't be an issue moving forward. But if the same thing happens for maybe 3 more weeks, I think something needs to happen immediately in the front office. Something has to be done because we can't have the same scenario happen for 4 years straight, even in the same predicament on 4th, should we go for it or not. And even in crucial moments to win the game, the play calling is just stale. So I think Marcus Brady could take over that reign, and Coach Frank Reich could maybe be just the players' coach and motivator to give us the W moving forward.
Yeah, man, there's nothing wrong with that. If this is a pride thing, if this is an ego thing, man, we need to let it go because this can affect the team. And I think it affected it today. You saw it. I think if you take those 3 points, it is a completely different ball game. You probably don't even get to overtime, Marcus. You probably don't even get to overtime if you just take those 3. So what do you guys think? Should Frank Reich pass out the play calling duties to Marcus Brady? Should he keep them? I'm not really looking for, firing right now because it's just one game. You're not in the hole. It's a tie. A tie is better than a loss, especially in the division if we're just looking at the bigger picture. But you need to everything needs to get set in motion now because you're playing Jacksonville. Jacksonville looked good today against Washington. They did take the L, but parts of their game, they look solid. The defense looked okay for the most part. Their offense looks like it can be fun to watch, and we will definitely break that down next week. But other than that, guys, we'll go ahead and wrap it up for this show. These were our thoughts from the Colts Texans. Obviously, the Colts tied with Houston 2020. They start out 0-1, right? 0-1. So it's not a win, it's not a loss, but hey, hopefully we can end that streak in Jacksonville next week. Other than that, guys, once again, if you enjoy the Blue Stable, make sure you comment down below, share, and subscribe to this channel, and we would definitely appreciate it. We are your number one source for Colts news and content around the Colts media world, guys. So once again, he is Culture Shock. I am Michael. Let us know down below what you guys think. And let's get ready for Jacksonville, man. Let's forget this, and let's hope they bring in a new freaking kicker by next week. All right. You agree, Marcus?
Yes, sir. Bring in a new kicker.
All right. Well, guys, you heard it here first. New kicker, hopefully. Marcus, you got the job? Would you take it?
Nah, I wouldn't take it. I can't kick that far.
Godly. Okay. Missed out on a few, couple bucks there. So, other than that, guys, he is Coach Shock. I am Michael Pevia. We will see you next week on the Blue Stable Podcast.